Welcome to another ABC University training session. In this session, we're going to cover the compressed air system. Before we get started, let's go over some safety precautions. Warning: always wear safety goggles when you are working with compressed air. Never look into a stream of escaping air. It is dangerous to disconnect lines while the compressor air system is still pressurized. Disconnect lines through which air is escaping can be slung about. It is dangerous to unscrew plugs or to open compressed air apparatuses while the system is pressurized. Parts that are slung about by compressed air can cause serious injuries. Make sure the air is dry and clean. In addition, air pressure should not exceed 130 psi. And looking at your picture to the left, 1 is your air compressor, 2 is your dampener tank, 3 is the purge tank, 4 is your air dryer, 5 is the wet tank, 6 is your safety valve, 7 is your governor, 8 is your single check valve, 9 overflow valve with limited return, 10 is your ZF astronic tank, 11 is your trailing axle brake tank, 12 is your drive axle service brake tank, 13 is your front axle brake tank, 14 is your auxiliaries tank, 15 is your emergency park brake release tank, 16 is your overflow valve without return, and 17 is your fill coupling. And here we're going to show you your location of your compressed air tanks. Number 1 being your front axle brakes, 2 being your kneeling system, 3 is your drive axle service brakes, 4 is your accessories, 5 is your wet tank, 6 is your rear raising, 7 is your trailing axle brake, and 8, if you have a ZF astronic transmission, would be your ZF astronic transmission tank, 9 is your air dryer purge, 10 is your parking brake emergency release. To check security of your compressed air tanks, mechanically check the fixing bolts, number 4, for tightness. If necessary, hand tighten the fixing bolts. Next, to check compressed air tanks for absence of moisture. Momentarily open drain valve of each tank. Only some light mist escapes with the air. System air dryers function properly. If a lot of water or other impurities come out, drain compressed air tanks completely and change air dryer element. In this slide, we show you the basic air compressor cutaway view. To check your air compressor discharge line for carbon deposit. First, release pressure from the air system by actuating the drain valve on the wet tank. Next, disconnect the discharge line from the air compressor. Measure the total thickness, X plus X, from the carbon deposit in the discharge line, shown in the picture to the left. If the carbon discharge sticker is thicker than 1/16 of an inch, if yes, you would go to step 5. If no, we'll go to step 6. Check step 5. Check the condition of the air compressor, the lines and couplings further up in the compressed air system, up to the air dryer and the governor, for excessive carbon deposits. If necessary, clean and replace lines and couplings. Step 6. Install the discharge line to the air compressor. In this picture, you see a cutaway version of your air governor. If the difference between the governor cut out and cut in is less than 20 psi, the result is too frequently cycling of the compressor loaded and unloaded cycles. To check your governor operation, step 1. Connect a pressure gauge with a range of 145 psi to the fill coupling of the compressor air system. As to the location of the fill coupling, refer to access doors and controls at the outside in your maintenance manual. Start engine to have pressure buildup in compressed air tanks. Filling should be effective at 1,000 to 1,500 RPMs. Follow pressure buildup on the gauge. Make note of the pressure reading at point where governor switches off. Compare value with cutout pressure values in your technical data and your maintenance manual. Step 5. Have engine idle and keep an eye on pressure gauge. Try and get pressure in tanks to drop back to 105 psi by pumping brake pedal. Wait for a few seconds after each time you have depressed the brake pedal. At one point, compressor begins to fill compressed air tanks. Governor cuts in. Make note of the pressure gauge readings exactly at point where pointer starts to climb. Step 7. Compare values with cut-in pressure values in the technical data in your maintenance manual. This is an example of your technical data values for your air governor taken right out of the maintenance manual. Foot valve operation. The foot valve is operated by the driver to apply the service brakes. The driver can control the brake apply pressure by positioning of the pedal. When the driver presses his foot down, the treadle valve will open up chambers to allow air to pass through to activate the braking system. After pressure is released off the pedal, it will exhaust the excess air. Visual identification of valves. First, you have your governor, compressed air tank drain valve, pressure relief valve, single check valve, overflow valve without return, overflow valve with limited return, and fill coupling. Pressure switch, or the Bendix LP-3, pressure switch for the Bendix SL-5, you have a pressure sensor, and your pressure switch for the WAPCO normally open, and your pressure switch normally closed. In this slide, we show you your airline color codes. This is the Van Hool color code system for airlines on Van Hool coaches. This is an example of your Suspense diagram. In this slide, we're going to show you with animation how the air system works. First, air enters your ping tank first. Once it fills up the ping tank, it will then pass through the air dryer. Then, air for the brake passes through the wet tank. And once it fills the wet tank, air will start continuing through the lines. The brake tanks will receive air first. At 70 psi, the pressure protection valves will open. Next, your ZF, emergency, and auxiliary tanks will begin to fill. At 130 psi, start your unloading cycle. Then your dryer purges, compressor stops pumping. Then your purge tank drains down. Pressure drops by 30 psi. Unloader line drops signal. And now the system starts building air. And this is going to conclude our training. For questions regarding this webcast, please contact ABC's Technical Service Department at 877-4 427-7278. Listen for the prompts for coach technical support and select the appropriate option. Support is available at this number 24/7.